Shalom. So we're going to talk about if a man has two wives. I know this is a hard concept for a lot of us to grasp because we grow up under the Western philosophy. We grow up under Catholic doctrines where they tell you that it is forbidden or it is fornication. It is unlawful, right? So we're going to go into the book of the laws and we're going to talk about what happens if a man has two wives and he loves one above the other. What happens with the inheritance, right? So let's go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 21 and verse 15. It says, if a man have two wives, one beloved and another hated, and they have borne him children. Notice it didn't say you shall stone them to death. It says, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son be hers that was hated. So let's go to an actual experience that we can relate to. Let's go to the book of Genesis chapter 29. And we'll read verse 20 first. Verse 20 says, and Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days for the love he had to her. So he loved Rachel. Verse 31, it says, and when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. So you see, the person that you hate, the blessings of the Lord can come upon that person just because of that reason. The blessing can also come upon that child because sometimes the child that you would say have outside, that child that you reject can sometimes be the head cornerstone. Sometimes the child that you say you got by mistake, which is not really a mistake, but it's called mistake, that child outside, sometimes the one you have in your home, all the siblings hate each other, they don't deal with each other. And the one on the outside is the only one that is mutual, that's keeping the family together. So you have 4 children in your home, and they all grow to hate each other, dislike each other. But the one on the outside is the one that is mutual with all 4. Sometimes it's the one that is even mutual with the stepmother, the father's wife. Because the very own children that grew up in the home is not dealing with the mother. The stone that you reject can be the head cornerstone sometimes. And sometimes some men are so weak that they have a child outside and they allow their wives to turn their heart from that child outside. Reject them, not realizing the curse that you're bringing upon your own seed. Because when you reject that child and the child's mother, you know what? You put her through the spirit of rejection. And when she conforms to that rejection, that hatred, that resentment, everything, she now turns it towards the son, especially if the son looks like you, the father. It's going to always remind her. The son is going to be a constant reminder. So she's going to have all her emotional outbursts and that child. So the child, the son, is now growing with a resentment again towards the mother, which is later going to affect his relationship with other women. Sometimes. So they conform to the rejection, and that rejection is passed down. So there's a curse in the bloodline just because of that. Now let's go to Genesis chapter 30 and verse 1. It says, and when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister. This is where the problem is. Matter of fact, let me finish the verse. It says, and said unto Jacob, give me children, or else I die. So this is where the problem is. A lot of people like to say, oh, when there are 2 wives, there's always this problem. There's this jealousy. This never said anything about jealousy. It said envy. Envy and jealousy are not the same thing. What is the difference between envy and jealousy? Envy is a resentful bitterness of something possessed by another. Why did Rachel envy Leah? It was because the child. Not because Jacob was having sex with her. That would be jealousy. Jealousy is about a rivalry in love. It's about being worried that you might be replaced. in someone's affection. She was not jealous of Leah. She was envious because Leah given him an ear. And how, let's prove that she was not jealous, but she was envious. Let's go down to verse 3. It says, and she said, behold, my maid Bilhah, go in unto her. Go in to do what? To have sex. So you're saying that she was so jealous that she had another woman for the husband to have sex with? No. None of these women were ever jealous about their man having sex with another woman. It's about the inheritance. So these women honored the men so much to the point where they would give them a concubine to raise up seed as a surrogate mother. A lot of the women today, some of them can't even have a child. They're even unable to have a child and would not even want the man to get an heir. That's very diabolical. You are unable to give the man a child and you wouldn't even want the man to get an heir. I can understand when young women who are fruitful, who can have children, do not want to get into those situations. But when you're in that situation and you know you cannot give him a child, you put all these things into your body, messed up your system, or whether you do it intentionally, but you are unable to give him a child, and yet you would want to stop him from getting an heir to carry on his seed. That's diabolical. Sarah gave Hagar to Abraham to raise up a seed. They all understood that. Samuel's mother Anna was also barren. Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 1 and verse 2. It says, and he had 2 wives. The name of one was Anna, and the name of the other Peninnah. And Peninnah had children, but Hannah had no children. You see, it was the same problem. Let's jump down to verse 6. It says, and her adversary also provoked her sore, for to make her fret, because the Lord had shut up her womb. So you see, the problem was a woman being unable to have a child. It's unlike today where a woman glorifies in not having a baby. That's how far the Western world is. And some women are so wicked sometimes, because I'm going to tell you of a situation. There was this woman, she put something in her body that she couldn't get pregnant. And she married to a guy. And now when they were trying to have children, it wasn't happening. You know what she did? She even took the man to the doctor to show that nothing was wrong with her, to make the man think that it was something wrong with his sperm's count, when she knew what she had into her skin. That's very diabolical. So it was always about inheritance. Let's go back to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 21 and verse 16. It says, then it shall be, when he maketh his sons to inherit that which he hath, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn. So it's like saying, if you have the child, what you say, outside, before you have with the woman that you're married with in your home, the child outside should still be recognized as the firstborn. The inheritance, he should still get the inheritance. That should not be taken from him. Verse 17, but he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn, by giving him a double portion of all that he hath, for he is the beginning of his strength. The right of the firstborn is his. Like I said earlier, sometimes that child that you reject becomes the head cornerstone. He becomes the strength. He becomes your strength. So there was never a transgression if a man has 2 wives. That was already permitted by the law. We saw that with Jacob, with Leah and Rachel. There were 2 wives. There were not wife and concubine. There were 2 wives. That was never a transgression. So stop allowing modern world to tell you what is transgression and what is not transgression. The Bible did not call it a transgression. There was no judgment if a man has two wives. The only thing is that we're not going to deal with women with deceit. So if you know you're into polygyny, you state that from the first date so she knows what she's dealing with, so she can make a choice whether she wants to be part of it or she doesn't want to be part of it. So you state you're non-negotiable. And if you know you are monogamous as a woman, do not try to get involved with a man that's polygynous and thinking that you're going to change him. Because a lot of you do that and then go back and complain that, oh, you were deceived into polygyny. No, you were not deceived. You know exactly what he was into. But because if you like the challenges, you think you can change him, you think you have the power to manipulate all the men. So this is why you find the most challenging men to be in relationships with. And then when you get the shitty end of the stick, you complain that you are being deceived. No, you deceived your own self. You were deluded by your own beliefs. We should not deal deceitfully with each other. So if you know you had a one-on-one covenant, a monogamous covenant with your wife, though you know now that polygyny is not a transgression, you have no power to change the terms of the covenant that you made with her. If you started with a monogamous covenant, you cannot change that. You cannot alter it. Shalom.